Morning, sweet. We are gonna play a little bit with what we call the functional breath in this short practice today. The functional breath it's the optimal breath. It's the breath that's just right for what us humans need, gives us what we need, and we've come very far away from that breath. We've really have, as a whole race, forgotten how to breathe optimally for our health and our well-being. So yeah, we're going to have a little play with that today. Before we move into changing any sort of breathing pattern that you are working with or what you have at the moment, just see if you can notice as I'm talking the next few breaths that you take without changing anything. Where does it land? When you breathe in, do you breathe in through your mouth, through your nose? And then as it comes into your body, the breath, where does it land? Does it land in your throat? Do you feel it there? Does it feel it in your upper chest, mid chest? Where do you feel the breath land? Notice on these next 2 to 3 breaths. And I know it's so hard as soon as someone says, notice this but don't change it. It's so hard to not change anything, or to know, is this actually how I breathe, or have I changed it because I've been told not to? Just see, just play with what's there. It's okay. Whatever the answer is, it's okay. It's just good information for us. So notice where your breath lands in your body. And notice what movement there is in your body too. So we know as we breathe in, our lungs expand. Can you sense that? And if you can't, like, I'm not asking you to try to sense, I'm not asking you to bring that in right now. Just see if it's there naturally. See if that sensation is there for you to connect to anyway in your natural breath, natural rhythm, nothing changed, nothing different. And then what I'll just say as you be with that for a touch longer is, if your breath, you're feeling your breath in your throat, in your upper chest, basically if you're feeling your breath anywhere above here, anywhere above like the bottom part of your lungs where your ribs are, if you're feeling your breath up here, then it is likely that your body it's a stress breath. It's not deep and it's not wide. It's quite a shallow upper body. Maybe you feel your shoulders rising. This could indicate that your body's stressed. Essentially, you're in sort of like a stress cycle, stress loop. And it's just good information. We're not judging our bodies or judging ourselves for that at all. We're just noticing it. And same so if you're breathing through your mouth, again, mouth breathing, shallow breaths. It's the breath that we do whenever there's a threat, whenever there's a stressor. So if that's your natural rhythm, can you imagine maybe what your body thinks you're responding to? You know, if you're breathing like that all of the time, your body may always think that there's a stress, or that there's a threat, or that there's stress there, even when you are like, no, I'm fine, like I don't mind my job and I don't mind my day-to-day life, I'm okay, I don't feel stressed. But actually, if that's the way that you're breathing, it's kind of informing your body that there is stress and there are threats. So just notice it's good information. We're not trying to judge, we're just seeing where the baseline is, where we are, where we live. And if you're breathing a bit lower than that and through your nose, it's likely that you're not, it's okay, all of this is okay, but that it's not quite such a thing in your system. But the breath is just a phenomenal tool, because it is automatic. We do it automatically without thinking about it, but it's not only automatic. So there used to be a time whenever it was like, the breath is the breath, you can't change it, it's an automatic bodily response, automatic bodily function. But actually now we know so much more. Well, the ancient yogis knew it well before we did in the West. We're catching up now with science that, yeah, actually this works, and what the yogis and the monks in the Himalayas and Tibet were doing has worked all along. So anyway, it's enough of me yapping. Let's have a little play with what the functional breath is, what it looks like to breathe the optimal way, functional way. But before we start messing with our breath, let's make some space in our breathing apparatus. So let's take a breath in, and as you do, reach your right arm up and overhead. sit up tall through your spine, not in a way that you are forcing yourself, but in a way that you can feel that your spine is that conduit between earth and sky, that conduit reaching up between earth, between Mother Earth, Father Sky. And then at the following exhale that you do, let yourself take a side stretch over towards the left. And you can let neck be soft, not holding on your neck. You can even kind of lift your heart, your chest, your lungs up towards the sky to look up. And yeah, breathe into this lung that is really, really exposed. Yeah, breathe in, paint it. Imagine that you can paint it. The breath that you take is a paint, and you can paint all this right lung. Paint it in with your next breath also. Slowly, slowly coming back to center this time, left arm as you reach, as you breathe, even reach up. Conduit between heaven and earth, that spine. As you exhale, take a bend. Lovely. Soft neck, strong spine, open heart. You can reach up, look towards the sky, paint that left lung in with the next 2 breaths. Really lovely. And then come back. Okay, bring your elbows up to your shoulder height, the index finger and middle finger in, like they're touching, like pointing towards each other. Really lovely. And then you're going to open them, keeping your arms, look with your eyes, check that your arms are on level with your shoulders. Then you can't see because the camera, but then you're going to turn your hand back. So it's almost like you're trying to touch the fingertips of your index finger and your middle finger. You're trying to touch them on the back wall. So it's like you are rotating externally, rotating your shoulders back, and then pull those fingers towards each other like you're pinching in your shoulder blades. This is really, really opening through the front of your body, and it is also a little bit of a pinch in the back. So it might feel a little bit uncomfortable. We're not here for very long, just 3 breaths. So again, like your breath is paint in the front whole of your lungs. Once more like that. Another back as well. Even with the pinch, can you paint in the back of your lungs? Bring everything back the way that we came in. So turn the fingers over first, rotating the shoulders back, in and down. Really nice. Okay. So first of all, before we come into the breathing, I know again, we're already 8 minutes in. This is going to be a slightly longer practice this morning, or whenever you're practicing. But it's important as well, because if you come to any breathwork sessions with me, any conscious connected breathwork sessions with me or with anybody else, any other facilitators, then knowing the basics of the functional breath is like foundation. It really is. It's also foundation just for life. I say to so many of my clients, once we've learned this breath together, out in the world, out in the wild, outside of this room, and you're not in a breathwork session, when you realise that you're breathing, because we can literally go through a whole day and go, hey, I have breathed all day and I didn't notice once. Whenever you notice that you're breathing at any point during the day, take 5 of these functional breaths, and oftentimes that's like it can be enough just to tip the scales if that client or that person has been breathing very chronically through their mouth off, or breathing shallowly into their chest. Shallowy, is that a word? Or breathing shallow into their chest. It can just be the way that we start to tip the scales. Yeah, one of my teachers says every conscious breath is healing, and I love that. So yeah, it's really tangible. And yeah, so yeah, functional breath. That's why it's a bit longer this morning. So take any hand, doesn't matter which one, take it all the way along the bottom of your rib cage and place it there. So this hand, this arm is like a frame for the bottom of your ribs. And the opposite hand, whichever one it is, just find the collarbone on that side of So if it's your left hand, it's the left side of the collarbone, find your collarbone there, and then that little like dint above the collarbone. And this essentially is the size of your lungs. So from this collarbone here all the way down to where your hand is here, and all the way over to this collarbone on the opposite side and down also. And it's also the whole of your back body as well. So your lungs are huge, huge organs, huge, beautiful butterfly wings, beautiful big tree, if you want to imagine it like a tree. And yeah, when we're breathing shallowly, we're literally breathing to like a fraction of that tree or those butterfly wings. So yeah, this is just to give you an idea of the sheer size of your lungs. Okay, what you're working with. Let that go. So with a functional breath, we're going to imagine that the breath that we breathe in, always through our nose, we're going to feel our mouth. The breath that we breathe in comes up, back and down, and it pours, almost like you're sending it to a reservoir down here. And it's like we send it past where our lungs are, because that helps us to, just breathe as big and as wide and as deep as we need. So imagine that you're filling a reservoir down here and the breath pours in. So let's play with that idea for 2 breaths first of all. Imagine that you're pouring the breath in through a reservoir, breathing in when you're ready. And out when you're ready. Not worried about timing just yet or a count just yet. The next time we do that, I'm going to invite you to place a hand there. So place your hand where that reservoir would be, lower than, just a touch lower than your ribs, where your ribs end. And place your hands, so you can see mine, place them so that your fingertips are kind of like interlacing each other. They're not gripped, but they're like interlacing each other. And this is going to help with the next breath when we take it, to sense that pulling away of the hands as your reservoir fills, and the slight pulling back together of the hands as the reservoir empties. So this is the sensation to play with, breathing in and breathing out. So you can see this is my belly rising and falling here as you breathe in. So we're actually kind of trained to breathe in the opposite way. It's like when you say breathe in, when you're trying to fit through a small space, people go, oh, breathe in and suck in. But actually, if you suck in, right, where's the breath going? You're trying to breathe breath in, you're trying to breathe air in, but where does that breath and air have to go if you're squishing everything in? So we've been trained to breathe the way that, the complete opposite that we need. So as you breathe in, let that reservoir fill, hands pull apart. And as you breathe out, the reservoir empties, hands slowly slink back together. Nice. And this gives the diaphragm a chance to do its job as well. The diaphragm is like this. If you can get your fingers just underneath your rib basket, the diaphragm is just there. And I say just there, it's not just there. We've just played with the sheer size of our lungs, right? Well, the diaphragm is like this dome-shaped muscle that attaches itself right the way across from this very end, this very rib here. And it's like a dome shape, like an umbrella, and it attaches all the way across to this side. And as you breathe in, that muscle, that dome, drops down to give space for the air to come into your lungs, to pour into your lungs. That really, we're playing with the reservoir down here, but the reservoir is all of this. The air pours into all of this, and the diaphragm gives it the ability to, the space to. So that's the movement of it. Nose breaths, wide breaths. We feel the fingers pulling apart as we breathe in, pulling together as we breathe out. And the next part of the functional breath is how long it is as well. We breathe far too shallow and far too quick. So the optimal breath, they say we should be taking around 6 breaths per minute, which then means our breath should be around 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. 5.5 seconds is the optimal. They say that's like the perfect time for these 6 breaths per minute. So yeah, if 6 feels a bit long, because it can, if it's the first time that you're playing with this, then begin with 4, move to 5, and then to 6. But the breath is also equal, so it's whatever you breathe in, you breathe the same out. So if you breathe in for 4, it's out for 4. Optimal functional breath, it is 5.5 seconds. So 5.5, obviously, it's, you know, when we're counting as a human, we're not going, okay, 0.5 and then breathe in, and then 0.5 and then breathe out. So yeah, if you're breathing between 5 and 6 seconds, that's going to do it. But if that feels a bit long in your body right now, 4, begin with 4. 4 is another type. It's coherent breathing, in for the same, out for the same. Yeah, 4, they call it heart coherence. So it's beautiful in and of itself. The functional breath is 5.5 seconds. And I do have a track that is timed to that, which I can paste into the notes of this video. It's just a Spotify track from somebody called Janek Citrus. And it's timed to the piano key. Bing, you breathe in. Next piano key that you hear, bing, you breathe out. It's like timed perfectly for 5.5 seconds. It's amazing. So yeah, that's the functional breath. So we'll try that for 3 breaths, and then yeah, I'll put the link, and then you can play with it for as long as you like with the Spotify track. So okay, let's, when you're ready, breathing in around about now. And out. Really nice. Breathing in. And out. 2 more. Breathing in. And out. Breathing in. And out. And let that go completely. See how it feels, even though that was, you know, just before. Also rounds. Yeah, and that's the functional breath. I hope that I've explained that well enough, clearly enough. If not, drop me a message. If it makes no sense or you have any questions, drop me a message. More than happy to have a chat about it. But yeah, that's the functional breath, and it's truly a gift. I hope that you got something out of this video, and I see you soon.